agents and how to grow our business. Byron is somebody everyone should listen to. Byron, welcome.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. So we're live, huh?
We're live. I decided to go
love it.
live because I'll cut this up into clips, but I
Cool, man.
decided this conversation is probably going to be way too good just to be held on to for a week before I can get it out.
Yeah. I love that, man.
Yeah.
Getting it out there.
Get it out there, man. So if anybody has not heard of Byron Lazine, Byron, I mean, you and I got to meet back in December, and I got to admit, I didn't really know who you were that well until I started looking at your content, and Katie Day gives me crap for not knowing who people are. And once I tuned in, I was like, this guy is the real freaking deal. So we can get into it real quick. Tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got to being at BAM now, and all the crazy business you do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. So who I am, where do you want me to start with that, from the beginning or?
Yeah. What makes you Byron Lazine? Let's go there.
Oh man. What makes me the guy I am today is a willingness to always be a learner, right? Getting better every single day, always improving. It's what I didn't do at the beginning of my real estate journey. 19 years old to 21 years old, I bought 3 houses. I went bankrupt by my mid-20s.
Wow.
That experience gave me, the switch to say, hey, I've got to, start learning and not just going and taking massive risk like I did during the great financial crisis and the mortgage crisis of 2004, 2005, 2006. I got to get my education right. I've got to focus and invest in that. Number 2, I got to get around the right people. Like what we did in December, man. I've been doing that kind of stuff now for 10 years.
Wow.
Being in, a coaching ecosystem like the Tom Ferry ecosystem, traveling and going into people's different markets and doing masterminds like we did in Dallas, like that you were referring to, that all that kind of stuff. Like, get around the right people, build your organization with the right people, let go of the people that are holding you back, let go of average and ordinary thinkers, whether they're your cousin, your best friend, whatever, man. I only got 365 days this year. I only have 24 hours. Everybody's got the same amount of time. I got to use it to my advantage and not waste any of it if I really want to do something significant. If I don't want to be average and ordinary, I better not hang out with average and ordinary people. So that is who I am now because of that experience that I went through. Started building a team. So got back into real estate 10 years ago by building a team, getting into sales. Obviously, hindsight, wish I did that from the beginning. Right now, fast forward 10 years of hard work, of growing, of building out employees and all of that kind of thing. We're the number 1 team in Connecticut year to date, most units per the MLS. We'll probably do, close to or over 1,000 units this year.
Wow.
And then, I love, with all the mastermind and everything I've done, I love our industry and I love creating content around it. I like putting out some trigger content and creating a debate or creating a conversation, about where the industry is headed, about what, it should look like. And then about things that agents should be doing to stay ahead of it, stay around the next corner. And I had built out a media company since 2017 that was servicing agents, servicing teams. Eric, the broke agent, was building, a huge awareness with his brand and, a lot of clicks and all of that kind of stuff. Didn't have the infrastructure, the company, the ability to maybe invest or build that company to, he's great at, being a chief of marketing, right? That's what he does with BAM and creating content that agents are going to click on. I had a really good infrastructure in terms of what we're doing with the media side. We put those things together and we created BAM Broke Agent Media. So that's everything I'm up to right now, what I'm all about in a shortened version for you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. So what I wanted to bring you on here today, and thank you for sharing that, because I think like a lot of agents, like we get on this level where we're an individual agent and we want to grow, but we don't really know how to grow. And I think that's what's great about like Tom Ferry coaching. What's great about kind of the ecosystem where we have agents that give back to agents to kind of show like, hey, you can grow a business and do this. And what I find impressive is you have, you're doing 1,000 deals and you're not even in that state full time where you're doing these deals. That was just that blew my mind, because there's a lot of agents moving to Austin and they're like, hey, how do I keep my business going in California? How do I keep my business growing here or there? But I'm going to be in Austin growing a team here. So I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people in that regard. And just, I love that, like your content. I pulled up your Instagram here. If you want to see just brash content that's hit you right in the mouth, it's no like joke, it's the real deal. His content is the content. And that's what I like about kind of like your personality and what you do, is that it's like, here's the facts, here's how to go forward.
Right. I mean, with the content, it certainly does come off a little bit. You said brash, like, I think I want to get right to it, man. And
Right.
let's start the conversation. And I mean, that's what social media is for. Like, let's have the conversation.
Yeah.
And whether I'm even, sometimes I don't even take a side and people are just like assuming a side, right? Sometimes I'm literally not, I'm just putting up the, the two sides of the equation. But it's fun. I think it helps everybody learn both perspectives or all perspectives in the industry. And I think that's healthy for everybody. Not enough people right now are willing to debate it out. It's too divisive. No, let's have that discussion.
Yeah, I love that.
Let's keep it professional, but let's certainly debate it out and figure out, the best solution.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm with you there. All right. So let me ask you this. This is where I wanted to bring you on here. Your content's very good in that regard. And you're talking about the topics, and you mentioned something about a shift the other day, and then you're talking about Real Broker, and we chatted back and forth.
That's right.
We are in a time in the Austin market, and I know a lot of markets, where we get to this time of the year and a lot of agents start to freak out. And then by the time we hit November, the market does what it does, and we're back to like a crazy market again. This time I think is a little bit different. And this is why I want to talk about the shift and what, if you want to stay in this business long-term, what are the things that we should be doing now as agents to lock that in so we do have sustainability? Because I do see things changing. I don't think they're going to be as bad as 08. I don't think they're going to be as bad as some people are saying, but if you're not prepared as an agent right now, I think there's going to be turmoil for you. Do you see that same sentiment right now?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, we'll break down. There's a lot there, right? You're referring to the clip I put out, referencing Tamir, who's the CEO of your brokerage, Real, where he says, hey, I think there's going to be over the next, I think it was 5 years, 400,000 to 500,000 agents shift away from, what he would consider traditional brokerage over to maybe something like a Real, that's more of a cloud atmosphere, or what you would say maybe a side, right, who's partnering with them, side's a company where they're more of like, service, real estate brokerage by a service, like almost a SaaS product, for brokeraging. Anyways, what you're talking about here in the near term, just look at today, right? Bitcoin's down to under 23,000 a coin, which people were like, when it was at 60 something thousand earlier in the year or the end of last year, whatever, like, hey, it's going to go to 1 million. Like, you better get on now. You can look at the stock market. Amazon's valuation is cut in half basically from the high point within the last year. That's crazy. It's insane to think about that a company like that would have dropped that much. You can look at the Zillow stock. You look at the entire stock market, and you can look at the fact that there's been over 13 real estate related, mortgage related companies that have already laid off, big names too, Wells Fargo being one of them, in the last, few months. You can see that interest rates are going up
6% today.
6% today. They're right? That's crazy. Who would have thought 6% this year? At the beginning of the year, I remember December, we're like, it's going to get to 4.5. Yep. If we touch 5 for a little bit, no big deal. Now we're at 6, right? And we're normalizing 6. You are seeing price reductions for the first time. You are seeing, and you'll hear a lot of agents say, Byron, oh, you're fear mongering. No. I'll just be first to say it.
Right.
This market's changing. The market's changed. The stats that we're all paying attention to are just reflective of March.
Right.
Inflation keeps driving a market that's going to be different in Q4 of this year than it was in Q1.
100%.
And listen, Google's down 30% on search terms for people buying or transacting in real estate. Google search is down 30% from January 1 in comparison to last year. Zillow's leads are down, although they don't want to admit it. Realtor.com and Redfin are admitting it.
Yep.
Their traffic is down. There are less home shoppers in the market that aren't an institutional buyer, right? There are
100% agree.
less home shoppers. It just is what it is. It's gotten more expensive. So if you're going to survive that shift, which the great agents are, I talk to agents all the time that have been in the business 30, 35 years. They're like, Byron, I sold homes in a great market. I sold homes in a bad market. I stayed in the business during the great financial crisis while other agents were running out and selling insurance and finding a day job. I stayed in it because I'm a great agent, because I control inventory. How do you control inventory? You have the listings. How do you have the listings? You have the best brand in your market, period, end of story, right? So you've got to build up the brand. Do I think you should ignore that 70% of home shoppers are on Zillow and you should ignore that lead pillar? No, I think you should get to a place where you have 10 plus lead pillars. But if you really want to make it through this, you're going to be the agent that has your name out there on multiple listings, that when people are going to interview for the sale of their home, they're thinking about you and your team. I got to have them in the door with 3 other people. The interview process is going up to 3 agents again. During COVID, it was, hey, first agent with a heartbeat, we're going to put your sign in the ground because I don't want to talk to many agents. I don't want that many agents in my house. Now there's going to be, an interview process of 3. So you've got to invest in your brand. You've been hearing it from Gary Vee and the like for 10 years. Okay, build out social, build out social. If you don't do it this time, you won't come out of this changing market. I won't even call it a bad market. There's not a cliff. I agree with you. You won't come out on the other side having grown your business through a changing market, having taken more market share. I'm looking forward to the change because more agents are going to flock to safety. I'm talking about the team now in Connecticut. More agents are going to have to flock to safety. More people are going to want to be, around the experts, around the people that can really bring them through the process. We're going to get more market share during this changing market while others are going to go get a day job.
I see a lot. So why I knew the market was shifting is all of a sudden, a lot of agents were actually starting to reach out to me and ask me about Real, where people were asking me, once a week, somebody would send me a message like, hey, tell me about this Real thing. And now consistently per day, I have more agents reaching out to me. Now this is not at any way a sales pitch for Real. I don't want it to do that. That's not what this channel is about, but that's what started making me go, oh, okay, what's going on here? And then by the end of May, all of a sudden in Austin, we went from about 3,000 units. Now we're at 6,600 units. We've doubled in basically 3 weeks. So we have doubled the inventory. And then all of a sudden, all my listings that I was doing the normal things on, no one was walking through the door. Now, I've done videos for all my listings. I know most agents will do walkthrough videos. And this is why I wanted to come on here and talk to you about what we should be doing as agents, because so for the first time in a long time, I sent out mailers again. I've called agents about my listing. I've had to go through the steps on these listings where I didn't have to do them for the last 2 years. And I think that's where, I got complacent. So if I'm going to point the finger at agents and say they got lazy, I got lazy as well. I know I tried to continue to do video content around my listings and things like that, but it's kind of hard to spend the extra money when everything goes like that. And Brad McCallum said it the best. In an interview with him one time, he said that, look, you should be doing real estate videos now because when the market shifts in 3-4 years, you're going to have longevity in the business. He didn't say it that eloquently, but he did a very good job saying that. So based on that, we're seeing, like you said, maybe not a cliff, but things shifting. What should agents be doing to continue to get business? Obviously, Zillow leads are down. They don't want to admit it. But what should agents be doing to continue to drive their business?
So when I say building a brand, that's very broad. Everybody says that. And so let's get tactical and like really break it down. Number one, if you're talking about building a team, building an organization, like you mentioned with what you're doing with Real and all of that, you should be to build your brand around that. You should be doing an event at least one day a month in your office that is educational, like some type of, call it a seminar, but a panel, right? So have agents. We just did one last week. Okay. So we had 2 agents that one of them has done 60 deals in 2 years, and one of them has done 20 deals in 6 months.
Wow.
So we put that out there to people who are in our pre-boarding phase, who have signed with the team waiting to get their license, or what we call pre-boarders. people who just onboarded in the last couple months of our team, but then also other agents from different brokerages who have thought about team, who want to know more about our team. We invited them to come, light cocktails, all that kind of thing. But now you've got to record that. And like what you're going to do with this conversation, chop it up into bite-sized pieces and get it out there for the rest of the agent, the rest of the marketplace locally who wasn't at the event to see, man, I want to go to that next event, or I want to have a conversation about that team. So if you're growing, have the seminar, record it, get a lot of different people in the room. The best piece of content we had, and Bobby, I hope that you guys are going to cut this up. The best piece of content that we had from last Wednesday night was when an agent who's been in the business 18 years grabbed the mic and she's like, or not 18 years, I apologize, 18 months. And she's like, I've been in the business 18 months. I've switched my brokerage 3 times because what these guys are saying on the panel is absolutely true. There are not brokerages out there that are going to give you leads, give you training, give you support. It's why I've bounced around 3 times, right? That message was the most impactful message for everybody to hear that night. And it'll be the most impactful message that we have on social that will be able to reach hundreds and hundreds of people in our local market. So that, if you're growing the organization, right? If you're trying to do something, other than a solo business. Now let's just talk about like the individual agent, what they should be doing. I have a lot of thoughts on this. Number one, that nobody is doing. That I shouldn't say nobody's doing, Jeremy, because you're doing it. You're basically doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of people doing this. Where you're going to become the town hall, right? So I see you saying, okay, Austin just launched Top Golf, and Austin just did that. Tesla, just opened up a new, distribution center or whatever. I might be misquoting, but I'm generalizing. You're taking the news, right, and you're bringing it to your Austin YouTube channel for consumers, right, for people that are interested in Austin. I would also, for the towns that Austin's a big city, people that are in smaller towns, I would go and make sure that you're the one disseminating the town hall information. So there's these meetings at night that happen, the zoning board, and that information is very hard to find because a lot of times these websites for these small towns or counties are outdated. How about you be the one that creates that and takes that information? You don't even have to go to the meeting if you can't make it. Say you got, family obligations and you can't make it. Go to the town hall that week, get the information. It's public information. It's in the minutes, and do videos around it. Right. And so get that information out, videos, blogs, etc. Maybe set up some time after to do a 5-minute interview with the zoning official and get that new information that they talked about in the meeting. So I'd really be passionate if you want to do talking head stuff like Jeremy and I do, of being that news reporter in your community.
I wrote down news reporter.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. If you're not taking notes, be taking notes. This is very important. Go ahead.
And there's a lot of that information that, so people are going to, do what they've seen a lot of people do, which is interview the restaurant owner. That's good stuff, but it's likely been done before.
Yeah.
And if you're going to interview the news reporter, don't do what was working 4 years ago, 6 years ago, when like Kyle Whistle did it in San Diego and it was a 5-minute YouTube video. If you're going to do it, make it a 60-second voice over TikTok. One, you can really execute on a high level like that, because if you're concerned about lighting and how your face looks that day and all that stuff, you can just go get B-roll, maybe a one-liner from the restaurant owner, and everything else can be voiceover of showing the food, doing this, and make those TikToks and Instagram reels, right? So what's working?
Like
what are people consuming right now? Make your content on that. But I would go more of the, the news topic, because if you're going to make it through the next 24 months, again, you're going to want to get listings. All right. So who's interested in what's going on at the town hall? People that already own a home in your community, as opposed to people moving in, right? If home shoppers are potentially down 30%, less home shoppers, let's focus in on getting listings so you can double book, right? You can get plenty of home shoppers coming to you, and you can have that inventory. So content that is going to be really relevant to the homeowners within your community. Another thing that we just got out of a meeting talking about this right now, a little less content based, but you can create content with all of these people on your website. Have like a resources page where all your closest vendors are paying you monthly to be on that. Like if you go on brokeagentmedia.com and see the resources, those are all sponsors, right? Duplicate that in your local market. So your individual agent page, your team page, where you have the inspectors, all these people highlighted for, every single month, do a 6-month package with them where they pay you a monthly fee. Now they can pay you a little bit more to be on your email newsletter. They can pay you a little bit more to be on your radio and or podcast show. They can pay you, a little bit more to maybe to have access to your agents. You want to do this for one of two reasons. The market's shifting. Why not take the great asset that you have and have some ancillary money coming in, right? Have some of this other money outside of all the transactions that you're doing coming in.
That money pays for your marketing, basically.
Correct. Number two, you're going to go and be able to, all these people want to be closer to you. It's going to be a lot easier, yes, to get them involved in your content creation, right? And so you're going to be able to do a lot with them. You're going to be very top of mind. These are going to be your VIP club of services that you already have right now. Just, put it together, package it together a little bit more official and monetize it and start creating content around it.
That's really, really good info, because here's the thing that I've done on my YouTube channel. Now I get people that come on, and I have agents come on my channel, my Austin channel all the time. And then I'll bring on, I've brought on a mayoral candidate. I've brought on somebody who just left the tax office, who was on the board, and had him talk about the taxing and what's happening with taxes in Austin. One thing I haven't done though is gone through and say, hey, look, I'd love for you to come on and talk about inspections or whatever, but hey, you're going to have to pay for it. That's something I've never done, but it's something I've thought about. So, I just don't know how to do that,
And so I would come up with a program like our community resource program here. I want you to be a part of it, and you're going to be on our website. Here's the placeholder. And that starts at $500 a month. But now if you want to take it to the next level and do $1,000 a month, I'm going to put you on a pod. I'm going to put you on a monthly newsletter.
I like that.
And it's all those things, the upsell, the stuff that they really want outside of just the placement on the website, that they're going to be like, yeah, I'll pay for the higher number and be a part of that. So it's a little different than just saying, hey, pay to come on the pod, right? It's like, you're going to have this whole package. The higher package includes a spot on my pod, which here's the numbers. Like you've got great numbers.
Yeah.
You should be thinking about having, if you don't already, a blog that is, driving traffic to the website. Like our, Connecticut team, we are nationally ranking on mill rates. And like if someone types in, what are mill rates, or, what are the different, because we have mill rates in Connecticut, what are the tax assessments? We have so much content on that so that when people are Googling it, they're landing on our blog. We're on the first page of Google for a bunch of these categories. So it's all information out there that you're giving to your buyers anyways. Even if you're not the source of it, just source it on your blog appropriately and link out to it to drive more traffic, because then your numbers are going to go up and you're going to have better numbers to show people for this resource package that you want them on.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like this question right here because it kind of fills in right in. Like, obviously, I have a well-known YouTube channel in the Austin area. I've spent 2 years working on, right? So this question right here, I think is a very good question. I'll give my feedback. I just want to hear yours. How does this work for a newer agent? I would say, number one, you got to start doing all the work to get, number one, if you're doing the work, that's what we're saying right here, which is talking to people, doing the news articles, doing what's happening in the market. The more you do it, then the more you're going to have people coming to you to do this. Because I have people who come to me all the time wanting basically free stuff, right? So, but what do you think, Byron? How should a new agent handle this, or somebody who doesn't have the reach yet?
Yeah, it's a great question. And newer can mean a lot of different things. So love to know the specific numbers and all of that. But you've got to become as obsessed with knowing these apps. I mentioned TikTok before, like creating, short 64-second form videos specifically for TikTok and then repurposing them on Reels without the TikTok splash is something you should be obsessed with. I would look at in your community, and I'm doing this right now, and I'm showing it to the marketing manager here on TikTok. Like, there's an account in Connecticut that is featuring all the local spots, voiceover, like I talked about before, that is really trending, right? It's like, hey, we should be thinking about this from our perspective. So you've got to really become obsessed with learning the ins and outs of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of these different platforms that are going to get your message out there, and do it every single day, low budget. Have an hour and a half a day where you're producing content on all of these platforms, always telling stories. Like, I'm thinking about, how Paige Steckling is always telling a great story, in her Instagram story feed, and others, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
Glinda.
want to, if Glenda, like the stories that you're telling throughout your day, it should start in the morning, and you can do a vlog on Instagram stories every single day, right? So you've got to just get used to doing that all the time. Now, if you're super new and you're under 10 deals, you've got to put yourself in position to get the double-digit sales and double-digit reviews immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So that might mean joining a team that has instant now bottom of the funnel Zillow leads, bottom of the funnel Realtor.com leads. Like, I never give this advice where it's like, hey, just focus on social, and in 12 months, you're going to start seeing deals. That's advice to make you go broke. My advice would be get into position right now where, yeah, even if you're working these deals at 30%, go out and get your freaking past client database up to 20 people, up to 50 people, up to 100 people as quickly as you can. You want 100 past clients within your first 3 years of the business, because then you can basically have an annuity of 20, 25 of those 100 people are going to either refer you somebody, they're going to transact, they're going to know somebody each and every year. 20% of your database should be turning over some business for you. So you're going to have this automatic business coming in. But you got to do both at the same time. I don't believe, this is going to be divisive. I don't believe that new agents should take a weekend off in their first year outside of a vacation, outside of a holiday. Yep. I don't believe new agents should take a weekend off at all. So you're doing some big deals, Jacqueline. Last deal was double-ended at 2.8 million. Great. Last sale at 2.8 million, double-ended. What I will say to you, which I say to my new agents all the time, maybe you're in a high price market. My agents are like, I got to get a $2.8 million deal. Like, congrats to you.
That's
for
awesome.
Getting that. That is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
What I will also say is that's two sides. That's not going to make a career, and nobody in your town is now going to be like, I'm automatically giving Jacqueline my $2.5 million deals and up because of that one sale. It is one sale. It's two sides. Put it into perspective, right? That Newport one Beach, sale, people are going to forget about Newport Beach, California. There's some serious competition in Newport Beach, California. Yep. I promise you, the day after it closed, everybody in that market forgot about that sale. Yep. I promise you, nobody remembers that sale. So you need to amplify it and make sure that it has a 60-day shelf life. You got to go old school with it. If you haven't door knocked everybody in that community 3 times each, you're making a massive mistake on that sale. You need to make sure everybody in that community knows from you personally that you've made that sale. And you need to be creating content around it while you're door knocking, right? So the phone's got to be up. You've got to be talking about it and letting everybody know 60 days. If you just did it, you've got the next 60 days of shelf life. Squeeze the juice out of it as often as you can.
Yeah. So that was something too that we've gone back to with my team here is, I think a lot of people, look, the market was so easy that it was so easy to not have to do those things anymore. So we're going back to door knocking. We're going back to circle prospecting around calls. The three door knocks that you do, we're doing the 3 calls around the same. Hey, did you see this home that hit the market? Just wanted to let you know it's there. Hey, by the way, this home just went under contract. Hey, by the way, this home just closed. Hey, do you know anybody else looking? So we're doing those calls again. And I think that's why I really wanted to do this with you, is because you can put out as much social media content as you want, but you even said earlier the 10 to 14 things that you need to be doing, you need to be doing them all still, right?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. It's not just one thing. So what else should agents be really doing to hammer down, like you said, should they go back to dialing? Should they go back? What should they be doing?
Like if you're in a market like this, Newport Beach, door knocking should be, if you like talking to people face to face more than you like cold calling, door knocking should be an everyday 4 times a week minimum practice that you're doing. Door knocking right now, there are still, you look at Andy Say in Silicon Valley. Dude made $8 million last year.
That's right.
And so very luxury in those price points, like we were just talking about, and he door knocks every single week, right? So there's certain markets that you can't door knock in as much, but I'm a big believer right now in consistently door knocking. Look at the podcast I did with Las Vegas agent Sam Coleman. He became a Las Vegas luxury realtor by door knocking every single day and by doing open houses every single day. And then what happened was everybody in the Facebook communities started talking about Sam. He was able to then engage socially with these people in the Facebook communities because they saw him in their community every single day walking around door knocking. If you're great on the phones and you feel super comfortable on the phones like I did, then yeah, sit there, headset on, and knock out calls each and every single day. But some people just are allergic to the phone. They don't want to do it. You got to do one or the other right now as a real main pillar. I'd still make sure that I'm paying for leads, that I'm actually making my phone calls, texts, and emails out of whether it's Follow Up Boss or Boomtown or, whatever your CRM is. Don't be this agent. I like using spreadsheets. I like writing things down on a notepad. It works better for me. If you're going to create a lot of leads, you got to put them all into one CRM that's smart and smarter than you are, that's organizing everything so you know who your A players are, your B players, and your C players, and you can focus your attention on those bottom of the funnel people. It's going to show you who they are. It's going to show you who's raising their hand. You don't have to go to a million places. So be organized with your business.
We have Chime, and it's one of the,
whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's one of the things that Real gave us, and it's like $25 a month. I'm telling you, that thing, the moment we input all of our leads into Chime, all of a sudden, all of these leads started talking to our AI, and it was unbelievable. I had so much business that I didn't know what to do with because all we did was I wasn't having those phone calls, but put it in Chime. Chime started having all these phone calls and not phone calls, but conversations, and I was like, holy crap. What the hell just happened? So yeah, I agree with you. A monster CRM tool is going to be very important.
How can you increase these conversations? How can you increase this outbound activity? What puts you in the best position to actually do it? That's what you should be doing more of, and less of the stuff that's just going to waste your time. I say this, some of the agents on my team get a little frustrated with me saying this. Like, if you're spending time, licking envelopes, that's something that somebody could be doing for a lot less than the time that you're spending doing that. So you need to be having conversations. If you want to do direct mail, great, automate it, and know that you're not going to be in the black for 12 to 18 months on that, because you have to do it. Somebody just said consistency. You've got to do it 3 times a month for 18 months straight to start seeing the real fruits of your labor.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about any of this. Like, I feel like anybody that's going to start something right now is already behind the 8 ball, right? Because the market's already shifting. Some of this stuff should have been started 3-4 months ago. And so, my YouTube channel has been around for 2 years. I'm continually getting business out of it, but I've been doing it for 2 years, and it took 6 months to actually start get consistent business out of it. So
I actually think that the model that you did on YouTube, the investment you made with your time into that 2 years ago, when we're talking about social stuff and not like the basic should you be a door knocker or a cold caller? Should you, should you do open houses or right? All that kind of stuff. We know you got to be doing, what you're the best at consistently every single day. But then when you're building out your brand online and you're going to figure out what's going to be my play on social media, what you've done is the smartest play you can do locally. Have a YouTube channel. What's yours called again?
It's Jeremy Knight, moving to Austin Realtor.
Moving to Austin. So there's a branding element to the community, right? It could be living in Connecticut. It could be, something, a community in Florida that you saw, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to have that in the title, like you did, create these, 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute long form videos where you're not going. Agents overthink the production all the time. They got to go to the restaurant. They got to go to the stadium. You're just putting up a green screen behind you of the article, of the image of the area, and you're sitting in your house probably doing these, or your office, or wherever you are, right?
Yep.
That's what agents should be doing, and then chunking them down to 15 to 60 second Instagram reels and TikToks. So when you shoot your YouTube video, make sure you have a hook, right? Like, I know Jeremy does this, like, is everybody coming to Austin because of Tesla? Like, here's why this is true. That's probably a bad hook, but like,
it's pretty accurate.
Have that hook so that boom, that's the start of your Instagram store, your reel or your TikTok, right? And so that content, just doing that once a day, shoot the 10-15 minute video about what's going on, clip out one of these, an Instagram reel, and then boom, that's it every single day.
So when you do these, do you cut? I mean, I'm sure you don't do it, but does somebody actually create a thumbnail for you every time like this?
So that thumbnail, like if you are
like this one right here, never change
that one right
your
there,
phone number.
That right there is just it's from the text. So what that one, that is it's a frame. Thank you, Bobby. A frame in the video. Now that text, we're thinking about the text to make sure, like, I want the text in as an overlay so that it becomes a thumbnail. So that is not a thumbnail. To the left where it says Zillow or personal brand.
Yeah.
With the podcast that I just did with Tim Macy.
Yep.
That is an actual thumbnail.
Gotcha.
So you can see that some of them have the white line over the top.
What do you use for the text, or like this? What app do you use?
So we're using Premiere, the editing. Premiere Pro.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So editing in Premiere Pro. So oftentimes the ones that have a created thumbnail are going to be a podcast, and then the ones that I've just designed specifically for TikTok are living inside of the thumbnails, living inside of the video, the frame.
Gotcha. So if I'm hearing you right on all of this.
Now, by the way, I want to be clear, because I get the question all the time, what are you using for the overlays? And I always write back to people, human editors, because I want them to be like, hey, the point is just go into your Instagram account and Instagram app and create overlays, because you can do it all. You can do it all in the app. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to put on an Instagram class, because there's stuff I still need to learn on Instagram. But you're right though. Going back, so the things that you're recommend doing, going back and being the digital mayor pretty much of your town, go back to door knocking, the basics of real estate, right? Go back to potentially doing the phone calls if you can do that. If you're going to be mailing, just know that it's going to take a few months, and then do events around your company, your brokerage, to attract more agents. Yeah. Those are kind of like the 4 or 5 things that you talked about.
And record everything, whether that's somebody just following you with a phone, you doing it yourself. I put out a video, Jeremy, one of these little short Instagram reels that I actually caught a little bit of flack for, whether they're like, hey, I don't have the money to do it, or who's got that kind of time or whatever. I said, if you're going to go to a restaurant in your local community, go there for lunch 30 days straight.
I love that. I said that the other day. I was with an agent that we were talking about Reel, and we were sitting at the bar of a restaurant, and I had been there the 4th time in like a week. And the lady turned around and goes, I've recognized you because you've been in here so much.
Yeah. And guess what happens? She starts to ask you questions.
Yep.
Next thing you know, she's going to be aware of your YouTube channel, which she probably wasn't aware of before.
Yep.
And she's going to be able to, you go there for 30 days straight, dude. She becomes aware of that YouTube channel. Anytime somebody's in there talking about, I'm thinking about moving here to Austin, I'm, considering, you should check out this guy's YouTube channel. It'll be such an easy sell for her to just like, hey, there's a guy that comes in here all the time. You should check out his YouTube channel. Now, think about this. Like we always like to double end everything as agents, right?
Right.
How about double ending your opportunities within your community? If you go have lunch at the same restaurant for 30 days straight, to create the relationships in the restaurant so that local people actually know you. And then you also spend your time by saying, hey, I'm trying something out. I'm going to be going to this restaurant here. You guys probably know it. It's on Main Street or you've heard of it. I'm going to be coming here for the next 30 days straight because I care about my community. I want to know everybody in here and blah, 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 blah. And by the way, while I'm here, I'm going to just show you, I'm going to have something new on the menu. I'm going to have all 30 items on the menu. And I'm going to be showing you all 30 items, what I like, don't like about all 30 of those. So now you're going for 30 days straight. You're meeting the manager, you're meeting the owner, you're meeting all, the wait staff, and you're producing content while you're doing it. There's some real value in that. Now, is that an investment? Let's say it's $50 a day for 30 days straight, $1,500 for the month. I'd argue that that's a better investment than I'm going to go try this new lead source that I heard about. That's going to send me 3 ready sellers this month. I think if you do that, $1,500 a month, you're going to get some real relationships in your community, some potential referrals, and you're going to get a whole bunch of content that's actually relevant. People will start following along that journey because they know there's a start point, an end point. They know what to expect every time. 60-second videos. Boom. Your lunchtime could be your content and 5 real estate related conversations every day.
That's impressive because also you're going to probably have to do your, stay in workout as part of that. Because if you're eating somewhere 30 days in a row, you're definitely gonna need to work out. I know I would, but that's killer. I love that. Cause here's what I do. I go to this place called Cosmic Coffee. Everybody, the wait staff knows me because I always go there. I talk about it on the channel. The owner DMs me now because I go there so much. And so I think that's amazing. I'm going to try. That's going to be, instead of 75 hard, it's going to be 30 soft. So we're going to try that.
I love it. 28 soft, 2 4 weeks straight, something like that. I love it.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's an amazing tactic. I'm going to try that. And then I'll report back. In fact, I'll just do a whole video for agents on what I did for 30 days.
And see, you'll probably take action on it because you're producing video, right? And so what I'd really like to see is the agents that are stuck on what to produce. I mean, that's a 30-day plan for you to get into your community. Your lunch is figured out. You don't have to think about lunch for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
You're going to pick one restaurant. Your lunch is figured out, so you know where you're eating.
And it's production too.
Yeah, you can have meetings there. Your content. You're going to meet every single person in the restaurant. Like literally that 1 hour is like 3 or 4 different things that are going to be beneficial to you and your business inside of your community.
Yeah, no, I love that. For something I've been thinking about, and I started doing earlier this year too, as we're talking about content related things, is that, these moving to channels, right? So my channel moving to Austin, somebody's talking about living in Park City, Utah. We talk about all this different content we do. And we were talking earlier about the content being like being the mayor, talking about what's informational to homeowners. What I started doing at the beginning of this year was actually making homeowners part of the conversation. So when I do a video, I'd be like, hey, and if you're a seller, or you might want to sell this year, next year, this information is really important to you. So listen to this video. I've got more listings this year than I do in a typical year doing normally what I do because I've made homeowners part of the conversation.
Here's another couple of things that are working for us with BAM that you can do in your local market. We just did an article on this. Create an ebook. So what you're talking about, like this might be useful to you as a homeowner. Create an ebook on what's useful for homeowners. You will get more emails. Right now, we're all in a fight for emails because it's very hard to get them. Well, if they opt in to give them to you because they've downloaded an ebook, and the way to actually get the download on the ebook is, giving up the email. You've got to be doing this. There's a whole entire article on brokeagentmedia.com that tells you exactly how to do that, the lead pages, So you want to check that out. You want to be creating these downloadable things that are relevant to homeowners, like Jeremy just said, where they have to give the email for entry so that you can collect emails in your database.
I like that.
The other thing that just caught my attention about Jacqueline, I would not do a different restaurant each day, because if you go for 30 days straight, just to go back on to that point, you're going to meet every single person that works in that restaurant. And then you only have to go to that restaurant once a quarter after that. And you are going to be a celebrity. Oh my gosh, Jacqueline, like, so good to see you. You've spent 30 days straight there. Everybody knows you. The owner knows you. They actually have a deep, intimate relationship. If you don't do something consistent enough for an extended period of time, you're just going to become another tourist in your own community. Don't be a tourist in your own community. Go there and make sure everybody freaking knows who you are. And then when you walk in, they're going to light your world up on fire, and you're going to be walking like a celebrity.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really like is people are like, I don't want to call and just sell people, or like cold call people. Like, why don't you just call the homeowner using the data that's at your fingertips, that's owned for 40 years in your community, and say, I noticed that you've lived in our community for 40 years. This is from Tom Ferry, by the way. I noticed you've lived in our community for 40 years. I'd like to interview on your experience. What's changed? What's different? What do you like about our community? What do you miss about our community? You have so much experience. I'm a local agent, not here to sell you anything. I'd love to just, and whether you want to do it over the phone and you give me permission to record, I turn this into some type of podcast, or I'd love to come to your home with our video production crew, or at a restaurant, or at a wherever, and interview about you with your 40 years, and then just literally do an interview series of the old G's in your community, the people with 40 plus years experience. Do you know how much they're going to tell all of their friends? Because they've got all day to just chat and have coffee and have lunch and all this kind of stuff about the experience they had with you. This agent called me and did this. And plus you're going to get great content. People with that much experience anywhere, there's going to be some real content gems that come out of that.
I love that. That's amazing. All right. Well, Byron, you got to go, man. So I really, really appreciate you jumping in here. If you found value in this and you found value in this channel, definitely subscribe. Byron, where can they find you at?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram, anywhere at Byron Lazine. Go to the Instagram, and be sure on the Instagram, by the way, it is that one. So, well, they all look the same now because there's all these damn imposter accounts, but it's BYRON LAZINE. You'll see some with 2 L's, 2 Z's, 2 N's. There's all these imposters. It'll be the same picture. It's really a shame that Instagram's not stopping this. And anyways, but I'd love to connect with you there, or just go on, better yet, go to ByronLazine.com, ByronLazine.com, and all the real social true clicks are on there. So let's get connected. Love to. Jeremy, you're doing such a great job, man. You're an inspiration to me. You've helped me out with YouTube a bunch, and I appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you, everybody.